Right now, wherever you are watching this, I want you to take a deep breath in. Hold it, keep holding, feel that pressure building in your chest. That tightening feeling, that growing urge to just let go. That feeling, that sensation you are experiencing right now, is your body going into emergency mode. And in the next 12 minutes, I am going to tell you exactly what is happening inside you at this very moment. What your lungs are doing, what your heart is doing, what your brain is doing. And I am going to tell you what happens if you push that feeling past its limit. Because what goes on inside the human body when you hold your breath is one of the most dramatic, fascinating, and honestly terrifying stories in all of human biology. So breathe out, relax, and let's begin. Let's start from the very beginning. What actually happens the moment you hold your breath? Your body, every single second of your life, is doing something remarkable. It is taking in oxygen, loading it onto red blood cells like packages onto delivery trucks, and shipping it to every organ, every muscle, every single cell in your body. At the same time, those cells are producing carbon dioxide as a waste product, and your body is constantly exhaling it out. Breathing is not optional, it is a biological non-negotiable. So the moment you stop, the moment you hold that breath, two things happen simultaneously. First, your oxygen levels begin to drop. Second, your carbon dioxide levels begin to rise. Now here is where most people have a misconception. They think it is the falling oxygen that makes them desperate to breathe. But that is actually not the primary trigger. The real reason you feel the urge to breathe, that burning, panicking sensation, is the rising carbon dioxide. Your brain has specialized sensors called chemoreceptors. These sensors are constantly monitoring CO2 levels in your blood. The moment those levels cross a threshold, your brain sends one message loud and clear. Breathe now. In the first 30 seconds of holding your breath, most people feel relatively fine. Your body has a buffer, a reserve of oxygen already stored in the blood and muscles. You are living off that reserve, but the clock is ticking. Around the 30-second mark, your heart begins to slow down. Scientists call this a reflex known as the diving response or mammalian dive reflex. Your body, sensing the drop in oxygen, starts to conserve. Heart rate drops, blood flow to the limbs reduces. Your body is redirecting everything, all available oxygen, to two priority organs. The brain and the heart. Your body is making a decision, protect what matters most. And that decision is absolutely extraordinary. Now we move into the uncomfortable zone. 1 to 3 minutes, by now CO2 has crossed the warning threshold. Your diaphragm, the dome-shaped muscle below your lungs that controls breathing, starts to contract involuntarily. You will feel it as spasms, little jerks in your chest. Your body literally trying to force you to inhale against your will. This is not weakness, this is survival. At the same time, something incredible is happening in your spleen. Your spleen, that fist-sized organ sitting quietly near your stomach, acts as a biological reserve tank for red blood cells. When oxygen levels drop, the spleen contracts and squeezes a fresh reserve of red blood cells into your bloodstream. Research from scientists studying free divers confirmed this spleen response. It is your body's emergency oxygen top-up system. Think about that for a moment. Your body literally has a hidden emergency reserve, and it only activates when things get serious. But here is where it starts to get dangerous. As CO2 continues to rise and oxygen continues to fall, your muscles begin to run out of their aerobic fuel. They start switching to anaerobic metabolism, energy production without oxygen. And anaerobic metabolism produces lactic acid as a byproduct. The same burning sensation you feel in your legs during a hard sprint. Your muscles are now building that same lactic acid just from holding your breath. A published study in the Journal of Applied Physiology found that free divers had significantly elevated levels of lactate in their blood during prolonged breath holds. Their muscles were literally starving for oxygen. Your blood pressure begins to rise. Your heart beating slower to conserve oxygen. Compensates by increasing pressure to maintain circulation to your vital organs. Your body is now in full crisis management mode, and your brain, your most oxygen-hungry organ, is starting to feel it. The brain is the most demanding organ in your body. It makes up only about 2% of your body weight, but it consumes 20% of all your oxygen. When you hold your breath long enough, the brain starts to run low on its supply. And the brain does not tolerate oxygen deprivation quietly. The first symptoms appear as lightheadedness, then tunnel vision. Your thinking becomes slower, cloudier. You may feel a strange tingling sensation in your fingers and lips. These are early warning signals, your brain telling you it is struggling. Here is the critical scientific fact. Most people think they will feel themselves passing out and be able to stop it. They will not. Unconsciousness from oxygen deprivation happens suddenly and without clear warning. One moment you are holding your breath, the next moment nothing. This is why breath-holding blackout is one of the most dangerous and most preventable causes of drowning. A swimmer holds their breath, loses consciousness underwater with no warning and never surfaces. Researchers and swim safety experts call it shallow water blackout, and it kills people every year who had no idea they were in danger. A study published in the Journal of Applied Physiology also found something alarming. Divers who held their breath for extended periods showed elevated levels of a protein called S100B in their blood. S100B is a recognized marker of brain cell damage. The good news in recreational divers: the levels returned to normal after they resumed breathing. But researchers caution that repeated, prolonged breath holding could potentially have cumulative effects on the central nervous system. In other words, your brain does take a hit. And while it recovers in the short term, we do not yet fully understand what repeated oxygen deprivation does over a lifetime. And if unconsciousness is not enough, if someone is somehow forced to hold their breath even longer, the heart can begin to beat irregularly. Organs begin to suffer real damage, the kidneys, the liver. Cells that have been without oxygen too long begin to die. The human body is extraordinary, but it has limits, and those limits exist for a reason. Now, after everything I just told you, you might be wondering, what about those free divers? Those people you see on documentaries who hold their breath for 10, 15, even 20 minutes. How is that possible? The answer is training, deliberate, slow, carefully monitored training over years. Trained free divers learn to control their diaphragm spasms, the involuntary contractions, so they do not panic when they begin. They train their bodies to relax deeply, reducing oxygen consumption. They practice what is called lung packing, a technique to maximize the volume of air stored before a dive. And over time, their spleens actually get better at releasing red blood cells, a measurable physiological adaptation to repeated breath holding. Some free divers who live at high altitudes also develop higher red blood cell counts naturally. Their bodies have adapted to lower oxygen environments, giving them more of those delivery trucks to carry oxygen throughout the body. But, and this is critical, even world record free divers do this under strict supervision, with trained safety divers beside them, with medical support on standby. Because even the best in the world can black out. Because the line between extraordinary performance and unconscious collapse can be as thin as a single breath. For the rest of us, here is what the science says. Holding your breath for 30 to 60 seconds, completely safe. Your body handles it easily, 1 to 2 minutes, uncomfortable but manageable for most healthy people. Beyond 2 minutes without training, you are entering territory where your brain and organs are under real physiological stress. And beyond 3 to 4 minutes for an untrained person, you are approaching genuine danger. Your body breathes automatically for a reason. It is not a background process you need to optimize. It is the most fundamental signal of life. The next time you feel that urge to breathe, that pressure, that burning, that desperate need, remember what you learned today. That sensation is not weakness. That is 250 million years of mammalian evolution keeping you alive. Respected. If this video made you appreciate something you do 16 times every minute without even thinking, share it with someone. And drop in the comments, how long could you hold your breath just now at the start of this video? I am genuinely curious. I will see you in the next one. Keep breathing.